Wake Up Carolina on the iCarter Talk Network.
843-661-0937 is our number. We've been talking a lot about local politics. 535 federally elected politicians, 515,000 in America. That leads you to believe where all the politicians are. They're at the local level. We got the mayor of Johnsonville with us, Hanna, this morning. And the reason I've asked Johnny to come in is county council in Florence County, not Sumter, not Orangeburg, in Florence County, voted yesterday to include a Johnsonville project on the list in the continuation of the capital project penny tax that has already been implemented. I was telling Rev during the break, one of the first votes I took as a member of county council was in 2004, allowing, not me to raise your taxes, but allowing you to vote on a ballot question, a referendum, as to whether or not you wanted to continue a penny tax, which is, I think, the most appropriate tax, kind of an economic transaction tax, a sales tax. And Johnny's here not to defend or justify, but kind of explain Johnsonville's position in why they felt certain things were important to their community. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, Ken. Thanks for having us. We're glad to be here.
Yes, sir. So let's go into the detail. I mean, you guys, there's a commission that went around the county. They based all of these fundings on population of communities. And to the credit of the council, they're allowing the citizens of Johnsonville to make determinations on what their priorities are.
We did. The council and I have worked very hard with our city council and our administrator. They let us decide. I don't think anybody knows any better than what we need. And we would just like to go through a couple of points and explain why the city of Johnsonville feels that we need a recreation facility.
Okay, we'll do that.
We've got not just a normal everyday golf course in Johnsonville. This is a very unique course. This is Ellis Maples design course built in 1966 as a 9-hole course. A.O. Wellman and Jack Wellman came in and completed the course in 1971. Ellis Maples was a very prominent golf course designer. The Wellman Club is known as far as New England, Oklahoma, down in Florida. Anywhere you go and play golf and you tell them you're from Johnsonville, oh, there's a great course down there. And there is a very unique course. It back in the day, it held Class A high school championships 11 times. Francis Marion Invitational, Peach Belt, USGA major qualifiers. It had South Carolina Golf Association and Junior Golf Association tournaments. The Hooter Tour was there. One-day qualifiers for the old Nike tournament. It's just got a rich history. And going back to a little bit of things in Johnsonville, we are blessed to have Wellman and Pool Industries and other industries that provide us a water and sewer system that is better than most anywhere you'd go. Our infrastructure, because of a very stringent council, we've got a very strong council. They're very conservative. We've got an administrator for the last 3 years that we don't have time to go over the list of accomplishments that we have and the infrastructure we have on the water and the sewer side. Johnsonville is in good shape. Now, with that being said, we've moving Johnsonville forward. This is what our focus is. This is our vision. If you want to stay the same, you're just going to, if you do the same thing, you're going to be the same thing. We've stepped out with a new city complex. We've got some good, prominent businesses looking at Johnsonville. Things are going to change in Johnsonville, and we're going to move forward. And the input of this golf course will have so many different effects on the city. It'll drive tourism. It's an economic development tool that will bring tourists. It'll bring people that are going to spend money at the gas stations, at the restaurants, at the businesses. We've got potential of maybe a 40-bed motel. That would bring more tourism. It would bring some of your bigger qualifying tournaments. The reason that Wellman didn't host a lot of tournaments back in the day is there was nowhere to stay. And it'll continue to drive things forward, and it'll make a big change in the city. And we are economically sound enough. This is not a luxury. This is an economic tool to get better. But we are in a position as a city that we can afford this venture that will be very successful.
But, Johnny, you understand the voter in Timmonsville or the voter in West Florence who says, I'm not voting yes for a referendum and help them build a golf course in Johnsonville, but the people of Florence had an opportunity to decide their priorities. That's what the commission did. It went to different places and didn't say, hey, we want you to do this or we want you to do that. They asked the people of West Florence. They solicited input from the people of Timmonsville. And this is something Johnsonville felt was important. And that at the end of the day, and I told Rev during the break, the ownership of the community belongs to the citizens of the community. You represent the interests of the people who live in Johnsonville. So it's not that the people in Florence are helping Johnsonville build a golf course. The people of Johnsonville have made a determination it's okay for Florence to decide what they want to do. It should be okay for Johnsonville to decide. Is that a fair articulation?
That's very fair. The council that they appointed, the 6 members, we met with them, and it looked like we were getting ready to present the projects to move them on to county council. County council and Rusty Smith have been great as far as working with us to determine what we want. Now, public outpour was not great in Johnsonville. We did have the consideration of some folks, and this is what we want to do. I got a lot of respect for that 6-panel council, and it was looking like a 3-3. And Mr. Jabali, I think, said, we would like to come to your city, look at what you want to spend this money on, and see, because they've got a huge responsibility. This is a lot of money, $140, $160 million, and they're in charge of it. And I understand that. And I voiced my opinion that day. I said, guys, I see where you're coming from, and I respect that. I said, and we'd be glad to have you in Johnsonville, but it's going to take too much time, and at the end of the day, it's not going to change what we want, because we deeply believe that we can take this golf course if we're able to get the money to do it, and we can make an economic tool out of it that will benefit our city way more than anything. And I have to admit, he listened to me, and he changed his vote. And we were able to get that.
And I want people to understand. I mean, I know this, and Johnny knows this. I mean, I'm from down there, and I represented Johnsonville. When you live in Florence, there's a certain style of life. When you live in Pamplico, there's a certain style of life. Johnsonville, there's a certain style of life. And I think to allow the people in one area to dictate the style of life in another area is unfair. And I'm sure I could go through this list. I've got a list in my hand of 100 projects. I'm sure there's 25 or 30 I wouldn't be for.
That's right.
But I don't live in Johnsonville. I don't live in Timmonsville. So who am I to tell Johnny, the mayor of Johnsonville, what I think they need and don't need? And at the end of the day, that's kind of the question we're asking ourselves.
That's right. And I'll be honest with you, there's probably people in Johnsonville that are looking at me and saying, what in the world are y'all doing? But if they'll get on board and we can get this thing pushed through, this will bring a lot of change. This is going to bring businesses. This is going to afford jobs. This is going to raise sales tax at McDonald's, at Shady Rest, at the Mexican restaurant, at the gas stations. It's going to generate its own money. And it's going to be just a tool that we can use to move Johnsonville forward. And that's the site or the focus of our administrator and our city council, which we have a strong city council. Our vision is to move Johnsonville. We're not looking, we've got a rich past, but we want to have a rich future. We want to leave our kids and their kids and their kids a golf course, a city complex, businesses, a thriving city. And that's what our focus is.
And what we'll do, Rev, is we'll have all these different mayors on periodically. I know I don't want to put words in Johnny's mouth, but I know you're willing to make yourself available for whatever questions need to be answered.
Absolutely. We want questions answered. We want people to understand the reason behind this. And as far as the penny sales tax, that is not another penny coming. It's the penny that we already got there. You're already used to it. It's something we've already done. And a lot of people think, well, they're going to put another penny on me. We're not going to do that. It's the penny that we already got.
It's actually the third iteration. I mean,
That's
the first
correct.
and then the second. This is the third, and it's not a new tax. And I would argue, and I will do this, it's a diversification of revenue. Right. I mean, and about 30% of the tax is paid from people who don't live in our county because of people who do travel back and forth. But I appreciate you, and I'm sure we'll get you on again between now and then. But because of third reading yesterday and the council voting on what some people consider to be a controversial issue, I wanted our listeners to understand it's not the way it was written in the morning news. It's a lot different than that, and we will do our part in trying to enlighten our listeners to make sure we do right by the community.
But just so I know, the continuation of the penny tax in Florence County will be on the ballot in November for the voters to decide.
And there's a yes and a no, and that's the beauty of liberal democracies. You vote yes or you vote no, and the side with the most votes wins. I just think it's in the community and county's best interest to continue the tax, and I'll try to explain it the best I can. But these guys will be available. The mayors of all these different
golf course is one
project. Of the projects on the list. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
We'll take a break. Thank you, Johnny.
Right.
Good to see you. We'll take a break. Back in just a second.
Wake Up Carolina on the iCarrier Talk Network.